is the Glass Cannon Network.
Welcome back to the City of Ghosts. You're watching Haunted City on the Glass Cannon Network. Haunted City, the show where we play Blades in the Dark, an incredible tabletop role-playing game by John Harper and Evil Hat Studios. A game where you play scoundrels in a city full of crime and spirits. It's a great game. It's the best game written in the last 20 years. Go and buy your copy today. And speaking of buying things, there is a new Blades in the Dark tool set that you should look into. Blades in the Dark Edition. That's OMM. That stands for One More Multiverse. It's a collection of tools that you can use to play Blades in the Dark. I got to play around with it the other day. You can create a beautiful, pixelated digital avatar for your character. You can create character portraits. The whole character sheet is on there. And you can also interact with this beautiful, gorgeous map of the city of Doskvol, where all of your adventures take place, and enter various locations all over the map in all of the districts. It brings the world of Blades in the Dark to life in a astounding visual manner. Go and check out Blades in the Dark Edition. And what you can do right now is you can pre-order that tool set at multiverse.com/blades. That's multiverse.com/blades. Okay, that's our sponsor mention. And now I'm going to mention some incredible players. They are here to kick ass and take names and summon demons and then let those demons take control of them and then do regrettable things. And their names, and they are gifted improvisers, actors. I've said all this before. It's going to seem like I'm trying to kiss ass now, but they are the best players in the world. Please welcome Ross Bryant, Salim, and Josephine McAdam.
Hey. What up?
Hey. Here we are again.
Welcome back, gang.
Again.
Well, that was a really wild session last session. First of all, it's the first time we've been unable to complete an entire downtime in 2 hours. But that's okay, because I feel like the free play got into some issues that wanted addressing.
Yep.
And we also see that the crew has been fractured. It's happened before when Chuck left the crew.
Lest we forget Chuck.
That was an emotional time. Goodbye, Chuck. We hardly knew ye. We'll see Chuck again. But this time, one of the core members of the crew, Selyak Khan, and his sister Kranz Khan walked off into, you can't say the sunset because there's no sun in Doskvol, walked off into the dusk set. So
I was so surprised. I just didn't think it was going to go that way.
Me neither.
Yeah, I really thought y'all were going to go cult.
Me too.
Yeah.
Turned out not everyone is as psyched as Selyak was to commune with chthonic elder deities of questionable morality.
There I was prepared. I was like, you know what? Juliet can walk away. We'll do cult shit, I guess. And just totally flipped.
Valkos continues to be the most unpredictable character of all time.
100%.
You think Valkos is hardcore into the cult, but very believably, and based on experiences we saw him have, I think he decided to put the brakes on. And what made you decide to do that, or is that just where Valkos was leading you? Abu?
No, genuinely, I think he's experienced a lack of control. And I think actually the speech from the Path of Echoes really kind of woke him up. And then also thinking of Juliet and what she went through. And that I think there's been a lot that he has witnessed that has made him realize, what the fuck am I doing? And especially with the hands as well. I think the hands were very clear because I think at the time I was thinking, wait, hands, did he want literal hands or did he want, the hands, more hands of the enemy? Both are wrong. And I think, Valkos has like a level of, some form of sense of like hangabout, moral compass. But yeah, I think genuinely Juliet was like one of his anchor points in regards to being like, no, this ain't cool, man.
Yeah. Juliet brought him back to his senses. Thank goodness. Well,
Wow.
You mentioned the Path of Echoes and Ring, your contact there, telling the Remnant to keep a low profile for a while. And because we're in downtime, those months that you kind of keep it quiet can pass, in the space of just this one game session.
That's true.
We already handled all of the fallout from the last score, the payout, the XP, the heat, the entanglements. So we can just continue down the road of downtime activities. And Valkos, it went to you last, and then there were some fascinating scenes between the PCs. But now, what does Valkos do after this meeting where Selyak walks out? What is Valkos's next move?
I think it's, again, to go back to the Path of Echoes and indulge in his vice again.
Indulge in his vice.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And I think it's in a different state, different mind mentality. He's probably got a bushy beard. He's very he's learning a bit about himself, not only also about himself, but also about the city as well. He's really kind of becoming reflective.
How much stress do you have left?
I have 4 stress left.
Oh, okay.
So there's a chance he could overindulge here. But it's not a huge chance. I mean, but there is a chance. If he rolls a 5 or a 6, that'll be an overindulging. Well, let's say you arrive, and we should RP it a little bit. You arrive, and you are greeted by someone you don't recognize. This is a man with a lot of jewelry, wearing the finery of a high-ranking citizen of Doskvol, and he greets you and says, "Good evening, Mr. Valkos. I'm an associate of Ring. You may call me Mr. Ramond."
Good evening, Mr. Ramond.
Have you come to drink of the chalice with us again tonight?
I have indeed.
And you're sure that you're ready for another sip? That you can handle drinking from the chalice again?
I am in control. I am ready.
Perhaps it's time for a test of your control.
Please.
Yes,
Lead the way.
you're ready? Yes. Follow me, please. And he leads you past the chamber where you kind of indulged in the communal sipping from the cup into a chamber that is down some steps and through a corridor and past a heavy metal door, and you end up in this fairly scary looking room that looks like a place that they would interrogate people or something like that. And there is an old metal chair sitting in the center of it, and
Nice.
why don't you take a seat for me?
Valkos looks at the chair, and even though inside him his heart is beating slightly, he doesn't show it, and he just takes a seat in the chair.
The man shuts the heavy metal door and walks over to a stone in the wall and kind of does something that you can't see, and then pulls the stone out, and inside, behind that stone, there is some sort of other little wooden door with strange things written on it. And he looks at you and he says, "When I have exited the room, open this door. You will know when the test is over, and I will come and retrieve you."
Yes.
Very good. And if you really need help, you can call for me. He walks to the heavy vault-like door, gives you one last look that looks a little skeptical, and walks out and shuts it, and you hear 3 clicks as 3 locks fall into place.
Right. I stand and I look at this door.
This tiny, it's almost like a cabinet.
It's like a cabinet, okay. Look at the cabinet and I kind of walk over to it. My hand sort of hovers over it. My left hand to begin with. But then I take my right hand with the tattoo. And I pull it open.
When you pull it open, there's seemingly nothing inside, except that suddenly you feel a tremendous emotional presence. But the emotion is one of disappointment, shame, and it weighs down on you extremely heavily. And you can feel that it's trying to kind of get inside of you. You recognize this as a spectral or ghostly presence, but it's not immediately apparent to you. You're not seeing into the ghost field. You're just feeling it as it sort of tries to kind of permeate your mind.
Oh my god. Okay. I think I'm gonna be taking a few steps back, but instead of going back, I kind of fall to the floor and sort of, ground myself to the floor on my knees and sort of kind of put my elbows there as well, get into like a child's pose, hand on head, take it in, come up, sort of like, the way that like some Muslims, the way that they pray, they go down on their hands and knees, and then they come up on their knees. I think that's what I end up doing as a way of grounding myself as this goes on.
Incredible. I think that as you bow in that manner, the presence weighs down so heavily on you. It's like someone has put a Volkswagen Beetle on your back. It's like you're to use a more appropriate world analogy. It's like an entire carriage, but it's not physically weighing you down. It's emotionally weighing you down, and now you can feel the identity behind it, and it feels like a father figure.
Oh my god!
Just kind of straining to get into your mind, and now is a great time to roll your lowest attribute, which is what?
Insight.
Great. That's what you desperately need here is insight into yourself and into whatever this presence is. Go ahead and give me an insight roll.
Oh, no.
It's a 5.
Abu, you roll too well.
I know.
You overindulge.
Can you resist?
Your vice. I don't think you can resist a consequence from overindulging a vice. Although, you can't because resisting gains stress, and this is fundamentally an activity that removes stress. So, okay. So the good news is your stress meter is completely cleared. The bad news is that whatever this thing is gets inside your head. And Valkos, you said you were taking a childlike pose. Suddenly you are a child. You are yourself as a child. You're not some other identity. You're not some other ghost. You are you as a child in Severos. And your whatever father figure that Valkos had, it was a rough life there. It's a quote-unquote barbaric land. And not that Akaros isn't barbaric in its own way, but it is a life out of doors. It's a life out in the wilderness. And you see who was Valkos's father or father figure?
I think it was his uncle.
His uncle.
His uncle ended up essentially killing his father. It's that whole kind of Lion King kind of sort of thing. But this is where Scar actually was victorious, very victorious. And as a kid, he would he would sort of look at Valkos, and he's almost like this, like, Kratos-looking fella, and he's like, foolish boy. You are a disgrace to your people. A disgrace to the land in which you are from. You make me sick. And Valkos is like, hey, I was only trying to help. Trying to be someone else, trying to be strong. You are not strong. You are weak. Pitiful. Like your father. And suddenly, he just backhands me. And I can feel it. And this is essentially, he was an abusive, beating, horrible human being.
Mr. Armand hears sobbing through the heavy metal door a little while later, and once he waits till the sobbing dies down, then you hear click, 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 and he comes back into the room, and he looks down at you where you are curled up in a fetal position, crying, and he says, "Nope, you don't have control yet. You're not ready for the deeper secrets of the path. The path would like to ask you to not only keep the remnant quiet for a while, but also that you not return here until you have control."
I kind of am just there shaking, silent.
Valkos, you have been cut off by the supplier of your vice.
Oh my god.
And I don't know, it's up to you, the player, but there's probably a little bit of a change in personality from this experience.
Oh, totally.
The man, Mr. Armand, walks over and shuts the little cabinet and puts the stone back in place, and then escorts you out of the lighthouse type structure that acts as the headquarters of the Path of Echoes.
I just sort of walk out. Again, that experience still lingering in me. I think I walk like 5 steps before just sitting on the street, curled up.
And here, right outside the Path of Echoes, you can look out at the ocean. And the ocean breaks against the rocks in a steady rhythm. And it's an endless expanse of black waves with lights twinkling down below. And now we turn to Juliet Belrose. Juliet, last time Kron's Con took, I think, one downtime activity, then quit the entire crew. Juliet's had some time off, so she has no stress. She's healed her harm, but she can take some downtime activities, or she can simply free play, look into things that she's interested in looking into. What would Juliet Belrose like to do?
No, with this renewed faith in her, well, right now, small crew, she's going to work on those heartbeat rings.
Right. So a while back, Juliet was crafting something. She was crafting heartbeat rings. Can you describe them to us again? Remind us what those rings are?
Yeah, they're supposed to be rings that kind of, it was a set of 3. Who knows where that third will go at this point. But for each one that wears the ring, you know the sort of mental health, physical state of the other bearers. Basically, it gives you their heart rate, right? Are they in danger? Are they safe?
Right.
It's a little warning system for each other.
Excellent. And it looks like you've already cleared a lot of the pie pieces, the clock pieces to get this done. So you could conceivably finish it. And this is also kind of a really symbolic act in the wake of what happened in the last episode and the crew fragmenting and kind of creating this thing that will unify them. And the heartbeat rings are your own invention, right, Josephine? They're not in the book as a crafting item. Is that correct?
No, they're not. Yeah.
Okay, well, I think that they definitely are not so game-breaking that we can't go ahead and say they work exactly like you just said they do. And maybe occasionally an action roll will be necessary to
Sure.
utilize the finer points of their empathic bond. But generally, they should give you an idea of where your fellow crew members are emotionally and physically. Let's look at long-term activities and find out just exactly how they work. I believe you use an action to work on them. And you fill a number of pie pieces based on your roll. And what action is Juliet going to use?
Tinker.
Tinker, that makes sense. And why don't you go ahead and just kind of explain what these things look like or what your process is, and then we'll have the roll.
Yeah. Also, do we think that this is this a Sparkcraft feature or not? I'm just looking at my special abilities, Artificer. But it's
What
when
would a
invent-
Sparkcraft feature give you?
If I invent creation of Sparkcraft features, I get a +1 result level to my roll. I guess that shouldn't. Does that change something? Is the result level?
Yeah, you know what? Why don't we make that have an effect here, because it's interesting. And I think since you were a former Spark, right? This definitely works under some sort of, definitely there's a connection between heart rates and electricity,
yes, exactly.
right?
Yes.
So these are like
the
cardiac
beats, yes.
rings, right?
Yeah.
So I think that we can definitely allow that. So why don't we go ahead and make this not only a long-term activity roll, but let's also make it risky for standard effect.
Okay.
And the way it's risky is if you fail this time, because you're getting very close to finishing it, you destroy your work and have to start over.
Oh my god. Okay. Okay. And they look they are copper rings. They're very conductive. And they have different color stones within them that glow to represent different states.
And right now, on your workbench, on your work table, tiny little threads of electrostatic are jumping, arcing between them. Are you ready to roll this?
So yeah, I know. I'm getting ready. I'm doing the roll. If I'm gonna take +1 result to the roll, it's not a die. It'll just be.
It'll be, instead of a standard effect, it will be a great effect, or rather, maybe more pie pieces will get filled, since this is a downtime activity roll.
Wait, what is +1 result level to your roll? It's not gonna change my result by +1.
Okay, yes, that sounds right. Actually,
isn't that what that means?
Yes, it did. It is.
Okay,
yes.
okay.
But essentially, still the same thing, meaning more pie pieces will be filled.
Yes. Okay. Risky, standard. Here we go.
Here we go.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
A critical.
That's a critical.
A critical means 5 segments are filled, meaning the rest of it is filled. And
Well done. That's
She's
amazing.
inspired by Valkos in that last meeting.
the rings are complete. And they sit on your workbench glowing with like a pulse. And when you put one onto your finger, you feel that it's perfectly matching your heartbeat. But as you look at the 3 rings, you realize you're not sure where the third one with the green stone is going to go. And with that in mind, let us turn to someone who has a very strong connection to the crew in more ways than one. Where is Ekaprag Wodi, also known as now Ekphelia?
Ekphelia?
That might be just our name and our player name for the gestalt being that is Ekaprag and Julia. I'm sorry, Ophelia.
Yeah, good question. Does Juliet seek them out? Or are you going to see Because we're talking about a pretty long span of time passing here while we're
Yes.
remaining quiet. Have you dropped by in a while?
I think so, and they were at Ekaprag's home. Was that correct, or was it?
Yeah.
Yes, last time
Yeah,
that you went to see your love, Ophelia.
No, yeah, Juliet does still stop by. Depending on, I think some of those times are tumultuous. Like in the past month has passed. You know, there's sometimes more. Yeah, sometimes more Ophelia, less Ophelia, and has sort of, I'm sure, witnessed that hold, and there's some guilt that keeps playing, and I think Juliet's still very conflicted, but comes out of like obligation still. And yeah, I think she's got the rings are in her pocket, and she's not quite sure what she's gonna do with them, but she is here at the door, knocking once more.
On your final knock, the door just opens up into the little garret apartment of Ekaprag Wodi.
Ekaprag? Ophelia?
There are posters on the wall for different carnivals and stage shows, and here in the dim light, clowns smile at you and acrobats glare at you.
Yeah, Piero, little sort of like commedia dell'arte engravings. There's a makeup table with a big round mirrored vanity, and you walk in and shut the door, and you hear nothing, and suddenly you just feel a presence behind you. There's my little dolly bird.
Oh. Hello. How are you feeling today?
Oh, is it day, darling?
Yes.
Been a while since you came round
I
to see old Ekaprag. Been busy?
Yes, I've been busy. I'm sorry, Ekaprag. But I'm happy to hear you are yourself. Yes?
Myself. Yes, about that. Am I doing well, darling? Am I passing? Am I
Yes.
passing, darling? Am I passing?
Passing? Yes.
I've been listening to his inane voice for so long that it's becoming easier to put on and put off as I see fit.
Ophelia?
Oh my god! Yes, dear.
This is you? This is... Where? Where is Ekaprag?
Where is Ekaprag? Well, he's here, dear. He's here, love. And nowhere. It's the most glorious thing as time passed, and I felt myself pushing against him. One night, it was as though I just pushed him out. And she reaches onto the wall, and there's like a little marionette dangling. There's a few like little puppets and marionettes dangling in Ekaprag's collection. And so now if you hear Ekaprag, just know that there's someone else pulling the strings, my darling little Palomi. And like the little puppet takes a bow. So, now we can get busy, yeah, love. Now we can get busy.
Yes, yes, it will take some getting used to, but it's you. You are in control. Completely?
Juliet, I've never felt better.
Oh my god.
Perhaps for a moment, Ekaprag, Ophelia's face, is lit by the light of electroplasmic lights from outside the apartment. Perhaps even in Ekaprag's apartment, there is like a flashing neon type sign outside. Yeah.
An electroplasmic neon pulsing. Yeah.
Yes. And the face is lit for a moment. Does Juliet detect any change?
Yeah. Yes. You're seeing it's the face of Ekaprag-Wodi, the body of Ekaprag-Wodi, the same small and sinewy frame, but there's like an uncanny intensity in the gaze and a ashen, deathly pallor. And you can tell that there's stage makeup on Ekaprag-Wodi's face. And as like turns in the light, there's a patch at the neck that hasn't been covered yet. And see, as Ekaprag turns to look at himself in the mirror, you see the neck, and there's just like a blue and decrepit vein on the back of the neck, and you realize that you are looking at a corpse. The face like turns around, it's like, never felt better. Never better.
Oh, my darling. Let me take a look at you, and she touches their face and
Ice cold.
is cold.
And the face draws close, and it's like, oh, you feel so warm. And the face like comes up against yours and like gives you a kiss on the cheek. And now perhaps you are aware that like, in a way that Ophelia never did, like, that Ekaprag's face is lingering over your cheek and your neck and it's not, this is not lust, this is not love, this is hunger.
Oh my god.
Ophelia?
Yes.
What's happening to you?
It's not what's happening. It's what's happened. Enough time. Time was all it took. Time was all it took. And now he's gone. He's not so much gone as he's me, and I'm him. Only, I don't know. I must thank your peculiar friend for putting me inside, although now that I've really luxuriated in here, I don't think I can leave.
Your body, it is ice cold. It feels like death.
Well, I suppose something had to go so that I could really take up residence here, so to speak. You needn't look so afraid. Juliet, it's me. And the best part is now that we've taken all this damned time for me to get my strength back, and I'm telling you, I feel stronger than I ever have before. Now Una can finally pay for what she did to me. And we can be together, and we can assume our rightful place, and finally have some proper justice and some vengeance.
Juliet goes in to the vanity table and sort of picks up some of the makeup and walks over to Ophelia where she missed on her neck and helps cover it up. Yes. We will get our justice together, my love. That I promise you.
And
Wow, all these crews fucked up, man.
Yes, this crew is. Yeah, we lost
Blades
the
in the
fucked up members
dark.
and gained the two. Yeah, and we still are so messed up. I think that has established that we'll call this being Ekaprag has rejoined the crew. And
my God.
now I would like to know if Ekaprag has been busy or would like to get busy with any sort of downtime activity or free play activity during these months that pass.
Because Ekaprag, with Ophelia in charge, has a project. And that is to undermine, humiliate, utterly destroy the woman that they believe is responsible for their death.
Yes. That's Una Ferros. Una Ferros, the head of the Sparkwrights Guild, or a very
That's right.
high-ranking member of the Sparkwrights Guild. So I do see that there is a long-term project here, destroy Una Ferros' rep. So
Destroy.
Ekaprag could work on that.
Well, when last
Or-
we saw Ekaprag working on that, Ekaprag was trying to get close to Una
Yes.
in a
that's
sort of
yeah.
seductive capacity.
Wow.
How's that been proceeding?
Well, you've got 2 clock pieces out of a pretty large clock. I think there's at least 12 pieces here, maybe 16. So you have only made contact.
Okay. Well, great. Let's continue.
Okay. So it's a continued attempt to get close to this woman,
With the ultimate goal of
destroying her.
destroying her. I'm getting close to learn. I mean, I want to learn everything about her. I want to learn her habits, her schedule, her desires, her embarrassments, her secrets, her Achilles heels, her loves, her hates.
Very good.
Oh my God.
Let's let the roll go first this time. So, what action are you using to carry out this vendetta?
Well, since I'm trying to get close to her at this early stage, sway.
Sway. Okay, very good. You know that Una mostly is present in Charter Hall, where the university is, because she is a lecturer, but she also often visits the facilities in Coleridge, where the Sparkwrights have a lot of experimental, laboratories and industrial zones where they work on their lightning towers and maintenance them. Where would you like to kind of follow her this time? Are you going to follow her in the marble halls of Charter Hall, or are you going to kind of see her at work in the experimental zones in Coleridge? Or are you going to catch her at home or in some other way I haven't envisioned?
That's great to know that she's in those places, but for the purposes of this particular tactic, I'd like to catch her in a more intimate setting. So this would maybe be off the clock.
Very good.
maybe
Well, she
more
works
like-
very late hours, so
Well, luckily, so do I.
right. Yeah, absolutely. So, the bell for midnight has rung when Una Ferros is moving to a coach right outside of a facility in Coleridge where she has been working late into the night. Let's see if she has anybody with her, maybe assistants, and we'll do that with a fortune roll. If she rolls a 4, 5, or 6, she has someone with her. She rolled a 2. She's alone. She's been working there alone very late into the night.
Great.
This particular building looks like it used to be an old structure that belonged to the fire brigade, but she's been doing something inside there all night, and now she is moving to a coach that has been waiting for her.
Great.
Let's roll the dice.
Great, let's do it. Here we go.
And see how it goes, and that'll tell
Full
us.
sway.
Yeah. A success, a 6.
All right.
So we know this goes well for Ekaprag, but what do they do?
What do they do? Going to a coach. Is this a personal coach or or just a hired for the night, like hail a handsome?
And this is like hail a handsome.
Great. I'm already in there when she gets in.
Oh.
Oh my god.
Good evening.
I'm terribly sorry. I didn't think that the driver was making more than one stop, but I'm happy to share.
Yes, well, where are you headed?
Well, and the name of the place where she's headed?
She makes her home in Charter Hall as well.
Well, I was going to Charter Hall. I suppose if that's out of your way, I'll
No.
give you the...
That'll be fine. Driver, can we also make a stop at the Charter Hall? And she gives her address information. And then the whole time, she's unable to break eye contact with you.
Oh god.
Must be incredibly important. What you're working on? Have you maintaining such late hours? I can tell you're a very diligent person.
Yes, well, as a matter of fact, it is quite important. I am involved with work that safeguards the city.
Of course, you must be one of the guildsmen, keeping our city safe from encroachment from those horrid spirits.
Well, it's more than just spirits. There are many different threats that we have cataloged and detected that seek to prey upon the people of this city.
And Doskvol thanks you.
I don't do it for the thanks.
I'm sure it's its own reward, but...
Well, I see our world as an ecosystem. And unfortunately, there are certain organisms that unbalance it. I see them as viruses, parasites.
And I understand why you're so ruthless in the pursuit of your ends.
I don't know that I am ruthless.
Of course, but if our society's an organism, I wonder, and Doskvol can, I suppose, be thought of as a body politic? What of the body of yourself? Do you take time to... Do you take time
Pardon me, sir. My body?
Do you take the time
I think this ride
to
is
care for yourself?
She can't break eye contact with you.
I don't mean to be
I take
untoward.
care of myself.
I'm just saying that
Well,
someone
you were being
with
very intimate with me. You were being... Excuse me. You are being... you are being very intimate with me, sir. Very intimate. And she doesn't move away from you.
Yes, I suppose I am. Well, I'm terribly sorry. As I said, I'm happy to leave anytime you wish. I'm simply wondering if someone with as many cares and burdens and responsibilities as yourself practices any care for themselves. Sets their burden down from time to time.
It's a very heavy burden.
I'm sure it is.
Few people could carry it.
I'm sure there are those that would take it up from time to time if they knew someone as important as yourself could be relieved.
You'll forgive me, sir. I have not gotten your name.
My name is Ekaprag Wodi.
Well, I'm afraid that my talents do not lie toward innuendo. But if there were someone who wished to relieve my burden, they could contact me here. And she hands you a business card.
Damn.
Then let us speak in innuendos no longer. And you'll receive a call.
This is my stop.
Yes, indeed it is.
This has been interesting, Mr. Wody. Very interesting.
Oh, I've taken a great interest.
She gets out of the carriage and walks up stone steps toward what look like, quite lavish apartments.
And Ekapreg is flipping the card in his fingers and spirits it into the jacket. Still has his dexterous digits and is like, driver, my stop is just ahead. Would you mind pulling into that alley? As Ekapreg leans forward to the driver and you must have had a terribly difficult day at work. Driving all over the city.
No, sir. It's my job. I do it with pleasure, sir. I hope you've had a comfortable ride, sir.
Extremely comfortable. And it's always lovely to meet somebody for whom labor is a pleasure. In Doskvol, pleasure is in rather short supply. And we take it where we can.
Sir?
And Ekapreg is gonna go for it.
Sir!
So I think that if the audience hasn't already cottoned to it,
Yeah, go for it.
According to the rules, Ekapreg, by being bonded with a spirit as long as he has become a vampire. And as a vampire, he must feed on the living. Now, currently, the Ekapreg vampire has no stress, has no harm. So you would be indulging a vice by feeding, possibly, that you don't need to indulge. Or we can just kind of do this.
This was just for fun.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I 100% agree. So I'm just letting people know that, yes, I know the rules, but this is for fun. I still want, first of all, let me make sure I click 3 segments on the Destroy Unaferos' rep, because you have earned that.
Great.
Okay. I think we got it.
My
It should be 5 altogether. My girlfriend's a vampire.
New show
Fellas.
this fall.
Fellas, your girlfriend ever a vampire?
Yeah. And let's also have an action roll about this feeding, just to see how it goes.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
I don't think that you're in dire danger no matter what. But I just want to see kind of how it goes. So, what action would you use?
I guess I was kind of sidling up on this guy, so let's do finesse.
Okay, very good. And you carefully extricate blood from him using your dexterity.
Life essence. Yeah.
Yes, life essence. So, and you can actually characterize it that way. Perhaps it's not blood. Perhaps
it's not biting. Yeah, or maybe. It's not a traditional vampo. Okay, I got a 4 was my highest one.
A 4 means success with some sort of consequence. And
Did you say vampo?
Yeah, he's guy's some kind of vampo.
I think that the consequence is this. Success means you feed on him, he passes out, you get away scot-free. There's no kind of complication with him in terms of notice or danger to your person. The complication is that you're kind of toying with your new body, your new powers, and that little taste you just took just makes you want more.
Sure. And I think Ekapreg feeds, it's not like a vampire, like he has fangs and bites you. I think he kisses you, and then just a essential suction kind of takes place.
Yes, your vital essence.
It's like kissing a vacuum, like a vacuum in space, and you're like, kind of, yeah. So I want more. Of course I do.
Yes, yes, and I'll try to remind you if you forget, but you definitely want more as soon as you can possibly get it. Great. And now let us turn to Valkos. Valkos, have you taken both of your downtime activities? Yes, you have.
Yeah, I have. I de-stressed and then de-stressed some more, and that's where we are left.
Well, I can tell you that the time you promised that you would take off, time has passed now. And you can kind of tell me if you want something that kind of went on while you were kind of relaxing and staying out of the game for a little while, or you can tell me what you do now that the time has elapsed. But it's sort of a free play activity. What would his next goal be?
I think after that whole overindulgence, I think he would have stared at the sea. I think he would have. I think he's just been at the grotto, just almost in his own space, almost meditating. And I kind of think that there is, he's battling his own demons, and he's chosen to battle his own demons within the grotto, in a space that is protected, that is, kind of almost like just there.
Has he been disciplined or tidy in how he is behaving, or does he seem like someone in a depression?
No, I think he has been disciplined and tidy. I think there's that kind of shift. I think that has definitely that event has shifted something in him.
Kind of trying to go cold turkey a little bit, or take a break. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, I think that's
training.
And he's almost become obsessed. I think that's the thing. He's almost leaning into his trauma, and like his, that in a sense of like it's become an obsession of being in control. And that's kind of where he's at. And I think it's a weird space.
There's another aspect of this, Valkos, which is that whenever you try to leave the grotto, sometimes as you look out at the streets, the shadows seem to move for a minute out of the corner of your eye, and you constantly have this uneasy feeling of tendrils of black ooze reaching out toward you. But when you turn around, there's nothing there. So is it completely psychological, or is the builder watching you, waiting to take you back into its embrace?
Yeah, I just stay in the grotto, man. I think I'm staying in the grotto.
So it probably falls to your crewmates to kind of make sure that you maybe get some food.
Yeah.
And so I would like to perhaps set a scene, if it's okay, between Juliet and Valkos. And at least I know that Juliet has something to give Valkos, right?
Yeah, Juliet was going to head back to the grotto anyway after the, after seeing Ophelia, Echoprag, that last encounter was going to walk straight back to the grotto, open the door, close the door, and lean against it.
Did you see Valkos at the door just standing? Because he shot up when he heard some movement, and then he sees you and he just stares.
Valkos, are you okay?
He just stares at you.
Juliet reaches into her pocket.
Valkos flinches a bit backwards.
Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Actually, she sort of puts it back in her pocket and says, hey, are you all right? You look worn. Have you eaten? Valkos.
And as I exhale, you smell the breath of someone who's been fasting for so long. And it's really putrid.
let's sit down. And she sort of like softly puts a hand on his back and sort of leads him to the table to sit. And, let me make something. And sort of takes the time to... We have mushrooms? We still just have fucking mushrooms, don't we?
Well, there's also types of algae.
Yeah. Makes a lovely little mushroom algae soup.
Perhaps
You
if
know.
you splurged a little bit, there might be some meat, but that meat would come from insects like grubs, or maybe if you're really having a night out of fine dining, maybe a rat.
You know what?
They grow them big in Doskvol.
No, we're gonna start with soup, because if he hasn't eaten in weeks, soup is probably the best place to start before just like, here, eat real food.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but she takes the time to make it and sort of, tries to make it as delicious as she can and sits down and... You must eat, Valkos. You must take care of yourself. What's happening?
I kind of stare at the food, and as my hand goes to reach it, you can see me shaking. But as I'm able to pick it up and just slowly sip and be like, as soon as I do, I just sort of... I've seen too many ghosts. I feel I just collapse.
Oh, and she holds him. Valkos, it's you and me now, okay? You're not alone in this. Wait, okay. Now she takes out the rings and she puts hers on. And it sort of like electrifies a bit. And then she takes the other and takes his hand and slips it on his finger.
I feel
Instantly,
this
you can
jolt.
feel his heartbeat. You can feel his heartbeat, and it slowly becomes in sync with your own.
Do you feel that? I feel you.
Yes.
We are connected now. We will struggle and also achieve and succeed together.
Yes.
You're not alone, my dear friend. And she just caresses him and just holds him tight, and then, encourages him to eat some more.
And I kind of, and I take it and I start eating more, and I start feeling a bit stronger. Just a bit, just a touch. Especially with the heartbeat, that helps. And I'm like,
Yes.
yes.
And with the image of Juliet feeding Valkos soup, we will take a short break. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back with more Haunted City on the Glass Cannon Network.
Ugh.
Welcome back. You're watching Haunted City on the Glass Cannon Network, or maybe you're listening to it. We are in the middle of an epic downtime. I believe all of the downtime activities have been expended. No, I believe Juliette Belle Rose has one more.
Could we have that have been a training session for my study and the study of those around me?
Interesting.
Insight, rather.
Well, I think that could have just been a scene that you had, and if you want to do something else to train study, you could. But are you saying you're specifically trying to learn how to study people? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, basically, just sort of in that spending time with Valkos and...
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes total sense to me. Okay, so you're going to train, and that means you mark 1 XP in your...
I think so, yeah, it's just a small... I think.
Right,
Yeah.
because as shadows you get extra if you're prowling or something like that, but you don't get extra in study. So, that's great. So mark 1 XP in your, let's see.
Insight?
It's
Yeah.
the insight attribute. Thank
Yeah.
you. Yes.
Got it.
And you have done that, And now I believe, enough time has passed that that the crew can start looking for their next job. But maybe Ekaprag, have you get an extra downtime activity as well? You haven't done 2 yet. You can of course continue to work on that same long-term project, or perhaps Ekaprag has something else in mind.
Yeah, Ekaprag's sated, although he's insatiable. He's going. Perhaps. He's been attempting to get close to Uniferos, so perhaps they could try to learn more in other ways. So, learn about her background. So I guess this would be more of a survey or a study to try to go to the university, look up her dissertation, look up interview acquaintances, look up anything having to do with her. It's the kind of legwork that a detective might do to try to create a profile or something.
Great. This feels like a gather information, so we won't call it a downtime activity yet, but it's something that can definitely happen during downtime. And you can use whichever of those actions you like, survey or study, both work. You can also pick something else, some other kind of tactic if you prefer.
Okay. Oh, yeah. It might be more their line to interview people. So let's do a consort, actually, to meet another Sparkwright or someone who maybe came up with Una and get some gossip.
Very good. I think that hanging out at busy professional taverns in Charter Hall that are frequented by people who belong to the guilds and people who belong to the Ministry of Preservation and the different city council, all of that administration, all of those white collar workers, you're hanging out in taverns that cater to them in Charter Hall. And go ahead and roll that. Let's see how it goes.
Here we go. Come on. What happened? I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Is it working?
Yes.
There we go.
There
5.
it is.
A 5. So that means you get some good information. Maybe not as much as you would have gotten with a 6, but you get some good information. And the word on everybody's lips regarding Uniferos is that despite the disaster of her new technology months and months ago, remember when she had the new weaponized lightning towers? Despite the fact that demonstration went awry, she has been given a new contract from the city council to the Sparkwrights worth a lot of money, and it has something to do with developing a brand new technology. And no one knows what it is because it's very secret, but the Sparkwrights are doing very well with Una in charge, and they have landed some kind of new deal with the city council. Tax money is going into developing this new technology that she has developed.
This lady's bulletproof. Okay. Mm-hmm. She's got a big new government contract. Okay. Interesting, but we don't know, no specifics about what that entails, other than that it's a new technology.
That's right. And with your 5, could I give you more? Let me think. Whatever it is. Oh, go ahead.
Let's say I'm talking to a drunken Sparkwright apprentice about this in some bar or something.
Yeah.
And maybe if I get the sense that they're not telling me everything they know, maybe getting into what sort of things that Ekphilia can do. I'm listening to their words, in listening deeper, it's like, you wouldn't happen to know what precisely it is she's after, would you?
I can't divulge technical details. Everything is very proprietary. So I can't tell you. Besides, I've only worked on some small components, and I don't have access to the entire blueprint. But I can tell you that the Railjacks are pretty upset about it.
Railjacks are upset. Okay, so there's that, but I'm also going to spend a stress during downtime to use a trait of mine, and I am listening between the words of this apprentice.
Oh.
And my listening pierces the words, and I can hear their thoughts.
What?
Oh my
The
god.
fuck?
You have the ability to telepathically read someone's mind?
Arcane sight. Take 1 stress to sense beyond human limits. Hear a subject's true thoughts or feelings. See in pitch darkness. Sense the presence of invisible things.
Oh my
Intuit the
God.
locations of hidden objects, etc.
So, the apprentice, Oris Dexter is the apprentice's name. Oris Dexter is thinking about a old firehouse in Coleridge. Oris Dexter is thinking about the part of the component that he worked on, and Oris Dexter is thinking about a enormous safe type device that holds ghosts.
Oh.
A ghost prison.
Oh.
Oh boy. Excellent. Okay. Well, of course, you can't tell anyone you meet anything about what goes on amongst the guild, professional secrets and all that. All professions are a conspiracy against the laity, the poet says. You're looking a bit knackered, Oris. Can I offer you an arm and a walk home?
Thank you, but my interests lie elsewhere.
Of course.
And right now, they lie in another round.
Yes, of course. I too, feeling rather thirsty.
Oh my god. How are we
This
gonna
is. I
do
don't
this?
know. Don't know. I don't.
I also
know.
like that Ross played 68 episodes of Vampire with me on the Stream of Blood, and we found a way to play Vampire here in our
Yeah,
Blades
yeah.
in the Dark game.
Yep.
But that vampire was a reluctant vampire. This one's into it.
Yes,
Into it. This one
exactly.
loves
It's
it.
completely different. And now for something completely different. So that's a lead.
Okay.
Cool.
And you can continue to looking into other leads, or just, follow any goals or threads your character has right now. That's what this time is for.
Yeah.
And we can start developing the score as we do that. It sounds like Juliette Belrose might have an action in mind, an activity
Not
in
an
mind.
action, but I think that there has to be at least a small dialogue with Valkos about look, Ekaprag is not okay. Ophelia has completely taken over. Their body is ice cold to the touch. Body is dead.
Would Valkos know about this? Seeming as he dabbles a lot with ghosts and is aware of the dangers that he dabbles in.
So, very interesting question. Let's answer two things, just to be clear for the audience. Valkos definitely knows that Ekaprag absorbed Ophelia's soul, because he was there when all of that happened. Now, Valkos... Should we make a roll for him to see how deeply he has delved into how the metaphysics of all this works?
Sure.
What
Because that
action?
must have happened out in where Valkos is from,
Severos.
right? In Severos, right?
Maybe. I mean, we know, I believe it's been established, and Abu, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It's been established that in Severos, they control the ghosts with a firm hand, and part of the reason why Valkos was disgraced, exiled, was because he,
That's
he likes to let the
That's right.
ghosts ride him.
Ride him, yeah.
So Valkos, what action will you use to see what you know about the process of creating a vampire?
I reckon a tune.
That makes sense.
Yep.
You can go ahead and roll that when you are ready. And it's controlled for standard. It's not that those things really matter right now. It's almost like an information gathering roll.
And could I can't push myself, can I?
No, because we're not in score. In a score. I mean, do you really want to?
I think
you know what? I'm gonna allow it.
If I was to push myself, I think it would be in a sense of like I'd be relaying a feeling of what it was like to be possessed.
Right.
Try to almost come into the feeling of like, it's almost like I'm going to put myself in his shoes, be empathetic in a way, because I've been there where the ghost has possessed me and taken over me and that kind of thing. And I think that's where I'm tapping into almost.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I just don't know. I mean, can you take more stress right now?
I can. I've got no stress.
Oh, that's right. You cleared it. Yes, go ahead.
We're dust.
Cool. 4 and 3.
4 and a 3. So we're going to go ahead and play it like an action roll. It's a success with a consequence. So you know everything about how the spirits try to bond with you, how they try to stay way past their welcome, outlive their welcome, or outdead their welcome, and how from your studies and from your time in Severos and with the Path of Echoes that creates a vampire. And I think that the consequence that you suffer from this knowledge because you know how close you've come to becoming one of the living dead.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think that you are really, really upset by this somehow.
So I think I sort of look to Juliet. I'm like, that isn't Ophelia, and neither is it Ekaprag. What you were conversing with was a monster. A monster that my people fear. And one that you should fear too.
I am scared. That's what I'm trying to tell you. And they're going to come here. They're embroiled in all of our issues. They still want what Ophelia wanted, but so urgently.
Yes,
I just
this
wanted
constant
to prepare you as well.
hunger, this need, this loss of control, this loss of, and you can, as you can feel, my heart is like really beating, and it's like really feeling uncomfortable. This feeling of,
Oh yeah, it's matched in anxiety.
If no one objects, I think this would be a great moment for Ekaprag Wodi to walk through.
What's
the
a
door.
monster, love? And you can just hear like the subtle, soft steps. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Here's Ekaprag, realizing he's been far too demanding. Do this, do that. Hasn't offered anything in return. I want to let both of you know that I am here to help you And I know that I can count on you to help me.
Yes, of course.
Yes. Yes.
And if I even heard that, I think, and I might walk up to you, Valkos, and if you're worried about any tastes that I've developed of late, I promise you, you have nothing to fear. I promise.
I kind of nod and try and break eye contact or look away in some shape or form.
Now, what's that pretty little bijou? As I'm looking at one of the rings.
Well, yeah, so there's one on each of our hands, but the other one is tucked away in our pocket.
Comforts and remembrances. Bond of friendship and all that.
Yes, just a sign of our friendship. We've been through a lot.
This is so sad. I think that Ekaprag knows there's a third ring, and he's not being offered it. And I mean, keep in mind, this is Juliet's lover.
I know!
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad to see that you've drawn so close.
Oh, you know, we watch each other's backs, is all. We are a crew, as you are as well.
Oh, I am. That's wonderful to hear.
Are you not?
It's just lovely to hear you say it.
Of course, yes.
Because I too
Yes.
will watch your backs. And I trust you to watch mine.
Of course.
And Juliet kind of like turns to sort of like act like she's busying herself, like maybe putting some stuff away, and like,
Speaking of our crew,
Yes, a little less crowded in here than the last time I came down the grotto.
it's true. Some have gone their own ways, different ambitions, it seems.
Talk.
Are you expecting someone?
Sawtooth.
Is that Sawtooth?
Sawtooth. And I kind of walk, a bit of energy comes through, and I'm like, man, you're alive. You're still here.
Of course I'm alive. Takes more than anyone's got to take down Sawtooth.
Come in. It's,
Yes.
I've been keeping my ear to the ground like you always told me to, Valkos, right? We help each other out. Is that correct?
yes. Yes.
Well, I happen to know a hawker that provides fits with some psych drugs.
Really?
Fitz took a big supply with him when he left Doskvol.
Would this...
And I know where he went.
No.
Uh-huh.
Oh, he owes us money. He owes the crew.
I thought there might be something like that going on if he left town in a hurry, and he must have left in a hurry based on the what he took with him.
Then, where did he go?
Imperial City,
Right.
the home of the immortal emperor. You ever been there?
great.
No.
Yeah. They don't let everybody in.
Who will they let in? Immortals.
There's only one immortal emperor, Valkos. But, yeah, I mean,
Oh boy.
he must know someone who lives there, as they don't let anybody in through the gates.
Then perhaps we should find a way of getting in.
Perhaps, yes, it's time to pay Fitz a visit.
I just thought you'd like to know where he went.
No, it was very helpful.
And while I'm here, does anybody need, like, something bandaged up or a little bit of salve? I brought salve with me.
There is something actually I need to discuss with you. If you could follow me.
Oh, a private problem. Yeah, I'm well acquainted with these types of maladies. Listen, I have a salve especially for this kind of thing. But if I were you, I would recommend stopping the visits to night market, if you get my meaning.
Sawtooth, shut up and follow me.
All right.
And I hope that it's like when they exit, there's just like this awkward, like silence in the room between like Echoprag and and Juliet.
So this Fitz character has run off without paying.
Yes, well, not me. I was away for this job. But, Valkos and... Well, really, it's just Valkos that's still here that's owed money. And it's owed to the Remnant, that's what matters.
Well, if there's any aid that I can offer, I'm at your service, darling. I think we both know how much I respect a proper settling of accounts.
Yes, of course. We'll do this together, my dear.
What did you want to talk about, Valkos?
I need you to be discreet.
When am I not?
Look, Sawtooth, I don't have long. I need you to find something out for me.
Okay. He picks
How
his
much do
nose.
you know about vampires?
What?
Yes, vampires. Have you heard of them before? Do you know much about them?
Yeah, I've heard the myths, sure.
Well, they're not a myth. And what I need you to do is uncover how to kill one. Here, 2 gold pieces. Go, find as much as you can, and report back to me and only me. And as I said, Sawtooth, be discreet. Please.
Look, I mean, I can access some of the university archives. They know me over there, but if I start getting into the restricted sections, some of the forbidden books, people are going to notice.
And that's why I've given you 2 gold pieces.
Well, I'm saying maybe it's worth a
creative.
little more to you, is what I'm saying. To be discreet.
Sawtooth. And I kind of, something inside me sort of quite likes it. And I kind of put my hand and caress his cheek. You know, I always wondered. Sawtooth. What a fascinating name. My finger finds its way into his mouth.
Hey!
I thought maybe you had sharp teeth, but actually, what do you need? They're quite dull, quite broken, quite rotten.
Get
and I
off
kind
of
of
me.
itch.
Ow! Ow!
Do you
The Valkos we know and love.
think that you can get more money out of a desperate friend?
Nah, this'll do, actually. I think this is a plenty of money, in fact, in terms of what I need, so thank you, and thank you for this opportunity.
I let go and I'm like, and I slap his cheek and wipe the saliva on his chest. I'm like,
Oh, by the way, your fingers, there's like a thick brown mucus on them.
Great. And I'm waving it away, and I'm like, thank you very much, Sawtooth. I knew I could trust a friend like you.
He pockets the coin and says, I'll be in touch. And he walks out to where Ekaprag and Juliet are standing, and he's like, good to see you all. Remember, my services are available.
Good day, Sawtooth.
And good day to you, Miss Belrose, and you, and you. And he walks out of the grotto.
So is that 2 coin from the crew sheet?
No.
My
Coin
personal.
is actually a symbolic term. I could charge you 1 coin right now, but I think I'm not even going to do that. He is your friend.
Okay.
So that was more for the flavor of the whole thing.
Great.
So you have 2 potential scores standing in front of you. One is, to delve deeper into whatever Una Feros is doing. The other is to track down this guy who didn't pay you, and he's in the Imperial City. The Path of Echoes told you to lay low for a while. Going out of town would definitely fit that definition.
So the Imperial City is like, can you tell us more about,
It's like a
is
train
that,
ride away?
It's like a long train ride away because in this continent, in Akaros, there are several different cities, and the Imperial City is one of them.
Oh, I see.
But you would have to take a train from White Hollow to Elysia and then on to the Imperial City.
We're going on vacation.
Oh, that sounds fun.
Yeah. Is that sort of what you're deciding to do?
I think so.
Incredible.
We gotta get that money.
You gotta get that money. Your crew does sort of need some money if you eventually want to go up to tier 2.
Yeah.
So,
And we can lay low and let the heat die down, perhaps. And as far as the project with Una Feros, absence makes the heart grow fonder. Maybe
very
the
true.
absence of Ekaprag, she'll just wonder who that mysterious stranger is that keeps running into.
Where'd you go?
So the only thing I think you need to do in order to get to the Imperial City is to somehow acquire tickets that will take you all the way there. And travel in this world is difficult. I mean, you have to pass on railways that take you through a wasteland of undead. So it's not as casual as hopping on a plane to Cincinnati in our world. So I think you either, if anybody has a downtime activity left, and I actually know that Ekaprag does, you either need to acquire an asset that will allow you to get those traveling papers, those tickets in order, or you need to, I don't know, give me some kind of action that could go poorly and backfire on you in order to not necessarily get the tickets, but to somehow get on a train.
I would just want to acquire the asset. I want to get those ticks.
That's the easiest. That's perhaps the easiest or the safest route.
I think it also seems the most wise from Ekaprag's perspective, because working people is kind of their forte and is more and more these nights. We've
Acquire an asset. So that's on page 153. Gain temporary use of an asset. I would say tickets all the way to Imperial City count as that. It can be one special item or common set of items, and that fits our definition here. Temporary use constitutes one significant period of usage, one trip. That makes sense. To acquire the asset, you roll the crew's tier, and the result indicates the quality of the asset you get. So
the tier is
1 to 3, tier -1, which would mean tier 0. 4 to 5 equal to your tier 1, and 6 means tier +1. So I'm gonna let that reflect the luxury of the trip. But also, if you roll poorly,
What class we're in?
it's not a real ticket.
No.
right.
It's like
Counterfeit.
forged. Yeah, it's counterfeit.
And maybe crudely forged. Okay.
Someone, yes.
And because Ekaprag is the one that's putting this together, I think that they, it is a Gestalt being now, they should roll to see.
And this is just the tier, so am I rolling
just the tier,
one
so you're just rolling
die?
one die.
One die.
Okay, I'm gonna do this with IRL dice.
Oh, yes.
It's just a D6, right?
That's right. Now,
All right.
if you're doing it with in real life dice, honor system,
Honor
buddy.
system. I promise I won't hedge, because I say that knowing that probably I'm about to roll like a 2. Here we go. Let me just show you how honorable I am, Jared. I didn't roll a 2. I rolled a 1.
No.
This is perfect for us. This is perfect for us.
Your tickets are not real. They weren't actually printed by the Ministry of Preservation with their seal on it, and so you were using counterfeit tickets. And in fact, they, if anybody gives them a really close glance, they'll see that they're fake. Likewise, your travel papers, your passport to other cities in the Empire is counterfeit.
Cool. Is there a way to resist that?
Yes, you can resist that. Well, no,
can?
it's acquiring. No, it's a downtime
it's
activity. It's acquiring an asset.
We so rarely
Almost
resist, and
got
this is
him.
the first time I've really, really wanted to. Okay.
Well, I mean, look, resisting is there to stop consequences
Yeah.
you don't like. I'm gonna. It's not how the rules work. But let's do it. Let's allow it.
Is this cheating?
Well, I mean,
It
you're gonna
is
take
cheating,
stress
but
for
we're
it.
allowed to cheat sometimes.
You know,
You'll take
it's not-
stress.
Okay, yeah, I'll take stress for it, right? Okay.
Depending
Yeah.
on how much roll. Yeah.
So it's 6 stress minus
Roll.
minus forgive me.
Oh yeah, it's whichever
Whichever
attribute
attribute
he's
you're
using.
using to resist the consequence, which to me sounds like resolve.
Right.
You're resolving to get good documents here.
Okay. So I roll. I just roll
you
my
just
resolve.
roll your resolve, yeah.
Just your resolve. Which is what? How much?
3.
Okay.
Oh.
That's very good.
Not too bad.
Oh,
6.
wow.
Nice.
6 stress and you rolled a 6, right?
I did.
So you take no stress, and I'm going to rule that this is why acquiring an asset is not normally something you can resist.
I don't.
Rather than allowing you to just suddenly have higher quality tickets, I'm saying that acquire asset doesn't count, and you're threatening people. I don't know. You tell me how you're doing it, but you're
Okay.
going to get to roll again.
Okay. It's a roll again. So
It's
I
a
think,
roll
I think
again.
Ekaprag knows like a porter from the ministry who would come into the club every now and then, and they had an understanding where like tourists from other parts of the empire, they'd like send them our way, we give them a kickback, and I go to them like, we need tickets, 3 of them, and the ones that he provides are just, I can tell immediately, are just like total hack work. It's like, what do you think you're doing? So I try to put the fear of God into them to try to actually get some tickets, and I roll a 5.
A 5.
Okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize, who was traveling. And now that I'm aware of it, I believe I can get a higher quality passage for you.
I don't think you can just run around scarping on me, thinking that you can pass off this shoddy work on me like real bona bijou. Oh no, love. I want some real class mint documents.
Gaddock Station tomorrow, but you have to leave then.
Of course.
Noon.
All aboard that's going aboard and all that.
And so, if you're all ready to go,
Got our tickets. We're all
when
packed up.
in
ready?
Doskvol there is a sort of a day cycle when the embers of the shattered sun sort of faintly let off a wan light. And so, with that sort of weird dusk in the air, you arrive at Gaddock Station. It is the newest and most advanced technology-wise station in Doskvol. A lot of it looks like it's made out of chrome, and the trains are large and state-of-the-art. They are belching smoke and crackling with electroplasm. And at the gate, that Ministry of Preservation worker is waiting for you. And he hands you 3 packets.
Ever so kind. And distribute the packets.
Thank you.
Have a nice trip. And then he immediately puts his collar up, looks around to make sure nobody saw him, and skitters off.
Took a bit of doing, but got it done. Well,
Are we
all
ready
aboard, let's
then?
go on aboard.
Yes.
Find this Fitz character and give a bit of the old shakedown.
You step onto the White Hollow Express, the first leg of your journey. Your tickets are not luxury first class. They are, coach level. And so...
And we've brought a bag full of, like, some essentials, you know.
Oh, your loadouts are available, right? Your loadouts are available. So you are sitting on like wooden benches, and the 3 of you can fit on a bench, and then there's room for 1 more person. And wouldn't you know it, 1 more person sits down. It's like a woman who looks to be maybe a merchant's partner or a merchant herself, very middle class. And her hair put up in a elaborate style, but very gray with like pearl pins to hold it up. And she gives you all a disapproving look before pulling out a small book of a scripture that she reads as she sits beside you. Across from you, again, you see another middle class personage with his entire family, his wife and his mewling children, and the children are dressed in knickers with like little hats with ribbons hanging off of them, and he's shouting at them to quiet down, and soon the train pulls away from Gaddock Station, and for the first time maybe in your life, you are leaving Doskvol. And soon, the structures, the infrastructure that surrounds the city, the heavy walls, the lightning towers that ring it, they fade away into the distance. You see them fly past your window, and now you're moving out into the wasteland, and you can see where there used to be more city. There used to be other buildings, but now they're crumbled, and moss and lichen and a terrifying poisonous yellow grass grows where these buildings used to stand, and there's an old carriage toppled over on its side, and this all used to be part of the city before the barriers had to be pulled back, before the ghosts and the undead made got more territory, and now you're moving through this haunted landscape toward the Imperial City, and the sun, the shards of the sun, the little pieces of it that are left, it doesn't go down, they just sort of dim until you can't even see outside. It's simply dark because there are no electric lights out here in the wasteland. Oof. It is just one big shadow. And that is where we will end for today.
Woo!
When we come back next time, we will see the Imperial City, and we'll watch our crew get their money, man.
Where's our money?
Where's my money, honey, as Luke Cage would say.
Oh, man.
I want to thank my incredible players, Ross Bryant, Salim, and Josephine McAdam.
Thank you.
Love playing with this crew.
Such a good
Can't wait
time.
for next time.
Thank you.
And thank you, viewers. Thank you, listeners. This has been Haunted City on the Glass Cannon Network. See you next time.